Welcome to Timeless Personal Growth and Development. Today we're talking about micro habits. The good, the bad, and how to develop new ones. Well, and why do you want to develop new ones? I'll start with bad ones. Well, actually, before I start bad one, I'm just going to start like what is a micro habit. We all know what habits are. Our habits, what we do throughout our day. Well, micro habits are kind of like the smaller version of habits. And it takes time to develop habits, develop good ones. And the bad ones we develop, the bad habits, are usually habits used to soothe any kind of stress or anxiety. And we all have a habit that we don't like. We all have habits that we wish we can develop into healthier habits. And sometimes we're not even aware that one habit may not be as healthy as we think it is. We're like, or may not think it's such a big deal, but in the long run, it is actually a big deal. We all have that. So I'm going to share one micro habit that I have that I don't like and I'm working on. And I've talked about this in a few other videos, two other videos in the past. My phone. Scrolling too much on my phone, and yes, I do not like it, and it bothers me. And I've actually tried to break that habit for a long time. Not quite working, not quite getting where I want to be. Like, well, is it really detrimental to my life and what I'm doing? No, not necessarily detrimental, but there is one event that happened that really bothered me. That really got under my skin, that made me go, man, I need to stop this little habit because it bothered me. The situation bothered me. The situation was, I was feeding my son the couch. Son's about 6 weeks old. I was feeding him. And I had one hand on the bottle, like awkwardly with my left and my right, trying to scroll on my phone, my stupid phone, and then trying to awkwardly find a position comfortable to put my hand to feed my son, and other hand trying to awkwardly, and like, I got so frustrated because it just looked so awkward and uncomfortable for him while I was trying to feed him. I'm like, what am I doing? Why do I need to have this stupid thing in my phone, in my hand right now? Why do I need this thing? I'm feeding my baby, I'm feeding my son. I don't need this right now. I got frustrated and I threw my phone across the couch. And I just continued feeding my son. And it was that moment that made me go, that needs to stop. Because I'm not doing anything productive on that thing. I'm just scrolling. And I need to stop with that scrolling. So I just set rules for myself. Yeah, that's like you would, setting rules for a child. Yep, and I had to set rules for myself that I'm only allowed to go on the phone only at certain times during the day. And the phone is used for messages and phone calls during the day. And that's it. Nothing more than that. Because it was taking away from connecting with my child. And that was my priority. And that's what frustrated me the most. When you want to develop, not develop, you want to get rid of a negative micro habit that you have, one, you got to be aware of it. You got to be aware that you do that, because you got to work on that self-awareness that we have, or that we don't have. You got to have that awareness. This is something that you want to stop and you want to end. The second is that you need to be motivated to stop, because if it's not really detrimental to your life, if nothing truly motivating you to stop, it's not going to stop. You're just going to continue. Nothing was really motivating me to stop scrolling through my phone when I'm at home, except for that feeding my son situation I just told you about. That motivated me to do it, because that really upset me. It may not seem like a big deal, but to me it is. Gets in the way of connecting with my child. You just got to be aware of it, and then you just got to be, okay, how am I going to stop this habit? One, you just got to be, you got to be strict on yourself. You got to be aware of it. You got to be, with the phone, you got to be very aware of the reflexive response for it. Another micro habit that people have is, I still have this one, little one, is nail biting. Nail biting. A lot of people have that habit, nail biting. And it's an anxiety habit. It's soothing anxiety. I'm like, okay, well, one, you got to be aware of when you're doing it. And two, sometimes you just got to be disciplined and force yourself to just, no, be calm. I'm gonna relax. I'm not gonna play with my fingers. I'm not gonna put my hands in my mouth. Why do I put my hands in my mouth? Why? Because it looks silly. As an adult, if you're an adult who still puts their hands in their mouth and still biting your fingers in public and in front of people, it looks silly, it looks childish, and it looks immature. It does. A lot. And that, if you do that in the privacy of your own home, fine. But if you do that in front of people, in public, social gatherings, yeah, it looks bad. Another micro habit would be grinding your teeth. That's still one that's a habit sometimes that I do, and one that I am least aware about. The one I'm least aware about that I do it. Why? It's another stress management habit. Grinding your teeth. Oh, you feel tense. Well, why do you feel tense? Sometimes you can be doing it in a situation that's not tense. You're at home. You're relaxing. You're having a drink, watching TV, and you find yourself grinding your teeth. I'm like, not in a stressful, tense situation. So why are you doing it? It's a habit. It's a micro habit. And you just got to be aware of stopping that. And you got to learn the ability just to be still. Just be able to find moments through the, and I started doing this, and this actually really helps, is finding moments throughout the day and just be still and not do anything. And usually those free moments between when you finish doing something and you have to leave to go do something else, and you look at your watch, oh, I got 10-15 minutes to spare to relax. Use those 10-15 minutes to go sit on the couch and do nothing. Because usually that open window, that 15 minutes that you have to spare, usually that's phone time. For most people now, that's phone time. Turn the Wi-Fi off, don't use your phone. Take that 15 minutes and go sit down. Go sit. No book, no phone, no distractions, no screens, no nothing. And just sit. Close your eyes and just think. And just focus on your breathing for 15 minutes. When those 15 minutes are up and then you got to go do whatever responsibility you got to do, you're going to realize, you're going to get up off the couch and you're going to realize, man, I actually feel good. I feel very calm. I feel very relaxed. That's a micro habit. And that's a healthy micro habit. Learning the ability just to be still and be calm, especially now with our screens and everything and our phones, and we're always distracted by everything because there's so much stimulation all the time. And when we have that lack of stimulation, when we're in a situation we don't have that stimulation, we're always looking for it. We're always searching for that stimulation because our brains are so used to it and so adapted to it. We can't handle a moment of boredom, a moment of downtime. We can't handle it. It's too hard. And what that is, that's a lack of dopamine function. I talked about this in one of my I think it was the last video. Talking about that's what the phones do. It hits that dopamine spike. We're always looking at screens. We're always watching Netflix. Always on our phones. It's dopamine, dopamine, dopamine. All the time. We're always getting that hit. And we're always looking for that. And that's why that when we have those moments, that 15-minute window where we're not doing anything, and there's a lack of stimulation, it bothers us, and it actually creates stress and it creates anxiety in us because, oh, we need that hit because our brains can't handle that lack of stimulation. But you got to be able to train your brain and discipline yourself to be able to focus and be okay with just sitting on a couch and just relaxing. And that's what I do. That's what I'm trying to do now. I'm getting used to the fact of putting any kind of stimulation away, any kind of digital stimulation, putting that away, and going and connecting with another human being. And the person I used to connect with is my son, is my baby. And when I go spend time with him, I don't get a dopamine hit, I get an oxytocin hit. That's the love hormone in your brain that gets triggered when you're with someone you love, with your spouse, with your girlfriend, boyfriend, but also when you're with your newborn child. You get a huge explosion of oxytocin into your brain. But when you, like I said, like I told you the story in the beginning of this video, where I was trying to manage the feeding with the stupid scrolling at the same time. I was just trying to do too much at once, and I was doing the scrolling because it is a really bad micro habit, a reflexive response that I've had for years that I'm just used to, and it just bothered me so much because I was supposed to be focusing on my child. So that's a little tiny little habit. Little tiny little habits that we do throughout your day that we need to be more aware of. And if it's a healthy habit that you want to develop, be aware of it. Have a motivating reason why you want to stop. And I know it sounds stupid, it sounds silly, but you actually need to set an actual schedule for yourself. If it's like a phone micro habit, a little bit of a phone addiction you want to stop, you gotta set yourself a phone schedule. You gotta treat yourself like a child and set an actual schedule for yourself. Because if it's getting in the way of getting in the way of things that are important to you, good, then you should stop. You should want to stop and go ahead and do it. We need to be aware of it. We need to be motivated to do it. And we got to set a plan to be able to stop doing it. And what's the end result of stopping doing that? Being happier, being healthier. I know my little micro habits, why I want to stop them, gives me more of peace of mind. I feel more relaxed, and I can handle more of the day-to-day stresses I have instead of finding the smallest window of opportunity to, oh, I gotta check the phone. It's like, oh, smallest window of opportunity, grinding my teeth or biting your nails or something like that. If you want to stop that, you gotta be aware and you gotta be motivated to stop doing it. And you'll actually, once you stop doing it, you'll realize you won't be thinking about it as much. When you have to discipline yourself to stop, you're always going to be thinking about it. Get it? Why? Because it's such a reflexive, instinctual response that you've been used to for so many years. You've been a habit for so long. But once you start getting used to not doing that anymore, you stop thinking about it, and it stops becoming reflexive in your own thought process. Slowly, over time. And on that note, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. If you like this video, you can like and subscribe. Timeless personal growth and development. And I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good one.